Welcome to Legal Keys, unlocking time, revenue, and results. The podcast that connects you with the people, technologies, and trending topics shaping the modern legal landscape. From cutting-edge AI innovations to high-growth marketing strategies and everything in between. Legal Keys is your go-to resource for actionable insights. Brought to you by Faster Outcomes and hosted by Tim Sawyer, two-time Inc. 500 co-founder entrepreneur. We're here to help you navigate the tools and trends driving success in today's legal world.
Welcome to Legal Keys, sponsored by Faster Outcomes. Faster Outcomes is the ultimate legal intelligence platform for lawyers and law firms of all shapes and sizes. If you're listening for the first time, thank you. You picked the perfect episode to join our podcast today. And for those of you who follow the podcast, we really appreciate your support. We have a great fan base, and we're grateful for that. I'm really excited about not only our topic today, but also our guest. And we are going to talk about the one thing that we all have in common, and that's our desire to make more money. And our guest today is going to talk about helping us keep it. Because as we all know, being a legal professional, being a lawyer in a law firm can be a very lucrative business. It's a great profession to be in. But like every profession, some of us are really good at offense and not so good at defense. Today, we're going to talk about both. Frank Rekas, is it Rekas or Rekas, Frank?
Rekas, you're close enough. It doesn't matter.
Potato. Frank Rekas is a seasoned personal CFO and wealth guardian focused exclusively on law firm owners. So we're going to be speaking to you listening today. As an investment advisor representative at Palm Wealth Partners, he helps busy attorneys minimize taxes, protect assets, and build long-term wealth through purpose-driven financial planning. That sounds like a pretty noble gig to me. Frank, welcome to Legal Keys today, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks, Tim, for having me. Been looking forward to it, and can't wait to get into the conversation. And let's talk.
So let's do it. So as our listeners have come to know and expect, we love to give ideas, takeaways, things people can enact immediately without a lot of lifting, right? And so when you talk to lawyers and law firm owners, what's kind of like, hey, here's one or two things I really want you to give some thought to because you see a lot of mismanagement in that way? Yeah,
I could probably narrow down to three things that I think a law firm owner should really be very, very aware of. Number one is budget. And I don't mean budget like handcuffs. I mean budget like guardrails. You have good revenue coming in. You want to make sure that you're just not spending it frivolously, right? Don't get shiny object syndrome. Don't go chasing the latest marketing craze. Don't get a new house just because your partner bought a new house and you're trying to keep up with him or her, right? Yep. So be very aware and cognizant of how your money's coming in, because you can have great revenue and not be very profitable. And then you wonder why, geez, I have all this money coming in, but I don't have anything or very little to show for it. So budgeting is one place where we definitely take a look at. The other thing is having a financial plan. And I see more and more of this the longer I've been in the industry. I believe that people are looking for advice, they're looking for direction, and they're looking to see if what they already have and what they're doing is enough to get them where they want to go. And more often than not, the plan is going to tell us, yes, you're on track. No, you're not on track. Or as long as you keep doing what you're doing, you'll be fine. But the financial plan, I think, really is one of the first things that they need to take a look at to make sure that everything that they have is aligned together. And then probably the third thing, and this is the biggest one, is proactive tax planning. Now, I'm not a CPA. I don't file tax returns. I don't want to file tax returns. I sometimes will watch my CPA do mine. I'm sitting alongside of her, right? But you have to be proactive with tax planning. And it's not something that you just show up and hand over everything April 1st and then hope by April 15th, you get a number that's comfortable for you. Tax planning is a year-round thing. It's year-round as far as planning, as far as trying to minimize your taxes as much as possible within the code, of course. There's no fancy tricks. There's no things that we're trying to avoid. Everything that we do and recommend is by the book, following the code. But there's a lot of things out there that law firm owners may or may not be aware of that they should be taking advantage of to save on taxes. And, my joke is you can tip your server, you shouldn't tip Uncle Sam.
No, but you should live in Puerto Rico.
Wait, that's an alternative. Yes.
I've got a friend that lives in I think he pays 4% on everything.
God bless him.
Genius. It's a genius move. One of the questions I have, and as I'm going to think about some avatars here. I've got a lot of friends who are large law firm owners, particularly personal injury, and they have big, bold personalities. And I can only imagine some of the conversations that you must be having with them to redirect in a way, right? Redirect and channel their thinking in a way that's productive to produce long-term wealth, right? So what's your approach to that, and how integrated do you get in their business? Because one of the things is, hey man, we're spending $1 million a month on advertising. Do we really need to do that? Are you having those kind of conversations?
Those kind of conversations are going to come up. That's where I also work well with what we'll call a fractional CFO. So a fractional CFO in conjunction with me, what the fractional CFO will do is they'll look at all of the incoming and outgoing business revenue, and they're going to actually help them with that revenue, whether it's marketing, whether it's website development, whether it's SEO, some of the different things that are not my area of expertise. But once I can get that narrowed down, and maybe then ultimately we're going to take a look at a P&L statement, profit and loss statement. Then I'm going to see, okay, what revenue is coming in, right? How has it gone out? But where is it going? And then we start to look at them on an individual basis and look at what have you done for yourself? How are you paying yourself? Is your corporation established properly? Are you paying yourself W-2 income, which sometimes you might be, but are you paying yourself the right W-2 income? And then how are you taking your distributions? How often are you taking your distributions? And then a bigger thing is, what have you done for retirement planning, right? And maybe you have a 401k. Maybe you're not able to put away as much as you want to put away. And there's probably a reason for that, because the plan may not be set up properly, or you're getting what I'll call poor participation from the rank and file. There's a way to fix that, right? And then above and beyond that, we can get into some other retirement planning strategies, which could allow you to put away up to 6 figures and save you some significant dollars on your taxable, exposure. And then a lot of times we're going to often use the dirty word life insurance, where you can put money away, protect your family, right, in the event that something happens to you. But if we're using a cash value policy, you've got some tax advantages there, because that money is growing on a tax deferred basis, and you have access to it income tax free if we do it the right way. So those are the things that we can have those kinds of discussions with. And you do mention personal injury attorneys; their income fluctuates a lot, or it can fluctuate a lot. And that's so trying to get them to control that is the thing.
And it's interesting to me. So in the my last company, I've done a few startups. My last company, we focused on elective medicine. So our customers were plastic surgeons, cosmetic dermatologists. And it always amazed me. And we did a lot of conventions. We did a lot of trade shows. And there were a lot of doctors in their 70s and their 80s walking around the trade show floor looking for the latest laser, or they're going to reinvent their practice and start over again at 75, which is fine and noble. But it speaks to maybe there might have been some a little bit of not planning or misplanning early on. And so in these professions, there's a tendency to think I'm going to work forever and I'm going to make money forever and I'm going to be capable forever. How are you approaching younger lawyers, right? And making the case that, hey, the sooner you start, the easier it gets, then you get down the home stretch, right? Are you having those conversations, and are they listening?
Absolutely having those conversations. with some of them, it takes a little while for the idea or maybe the strategies to sink in, because some of them feel that, well, my firm is my retirement. Well, maybe not. Is it really saleable? Because you are the firm, right? If you're a solo owner, whether you're just by yourself or you've got a staff and other attorneys and you've got 10, 15, 25 people, you're the firm. It's your relationships, it's your strategic partners that you have. People are coming to your firm because of you. If you're gone, is it really sellable, right? Maybe you can merge with somebody, but then also, what are you doing to diversify yourself? And it can't just be, well, I own my building and it's real estate. Okay, but can you sell it? Are you going to sell it for what you want to sell it for? So you have to have other avenues to have money put away for long-term growth. And we'll look at a number of different ways, to do that. And I sometimes will talk to people about, the 3 bucket strategy, right? You've got your money for right now, you've got your intermediate money, and then you've got your long-term money. And we'll try to see how to fill each one of those appropriately for you and for your plan. So they're listening. Sometimes it's a little bit of a new idea for them, because a lot of times what they're running into is they're running into an advisor that is quote unquote pushing a product. Here's the latest, greatest Plotnik 3000, as I joke about it. And that may not be right for everybody. It probably isn't right for everybody. And it may not be right for you. So by doing your planning in a comprehensive manner and looking at everything, I think we have a better opportunity to help you reach the goal that you want to reach down the road.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And also, money is very, like I said, it's very emotional for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like talking about it sometimes. They certainly don't like saying, if you take this dollar away from me for 20 years from now, that means I don't have that dollar today, right? So you've got to get that message to sink in. And then there's also the idea that, and I read a little bit about this for you, is the idea that income only goes up. It never goes down, it never fluctuates, right? So there's this misconception that, well, if I made $1 million this year, I'm going to make $1.2 million next year, and then $1.4 million, and then $1.6 million. And that's got to also be a tricky conversation, right? To let somebody know, hey, things don't always go up, right? Are they open to those discussions?
I think they are. It's unique because a lot of the attorneys that I've been dealing with and speaking to recently, they've had this jump in their income. And because they've had that jump in their income, sometimes they get a little cautious with what they want to do with their money. So we've had people that have had 7 figures sitting in a checking account. Like, what are you doing, right? Why is that? Yes, you need to have a cushion. I get it. But if we can do something with that money, make it fully liquid, right? And be conservative with maybe 75, 80% of it, but let's put 20, 25% of it to work for you, that it will work a little bit harder and actually make some money, for you. I come from a family that didn't plan well. They didn't really have a comfortable retirement. So because of what I saw, what happened to them, I don't want that to happen to the clients that I'm dealing with. So if the sooner we can plan, the sooner we don't have to play catch up. I think that's the big thing. We don't want to play, we're 50, 55 years old, all of a sudden, the number that you need is just too big, and then it almost stifles them from moving forward.
Right. And you can't put a price tag on peace of mind.
No.
Now, real quick, I also noticed, was looking in your LinkedIn profile, and there was a note about your attachment to AI and calling AI kind of an atlas for planning for the law firms. As you know, Faster Outcomes provides a legal intelligence platform. So talk a little bit about the conversations you're having around artificial intelligence, and how are you using it yourself?
So the thing with Atlas was, and I've been working with ChatGPT for a while, and you get these ideas every now and then to just kind of play around with it. So I just typed in there, hey, I'm a financial advisor. I would like, you've been working with me for the last, call it 6 months, 8 months, whatever it's been. I'd like you to give yourself a name, but have your name based upon what it is that I do as a financial planner, based on what you know about me. And it just came back, hi, my name is Atlas. My name is Atlas because you create the roadmap for everyone's financial future for the law firm owners that you work with. Make sense?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it does. So that's where Atlas came from.
And how are you
Uh,
using AI in finance? Is there much use of that in financial planning now?
oh, I just came from a conference a couple weeks ago, and there's AI all over the place. It's not going to replace what we do, but it will replace the advisor who's not going to use it. That much I have a very good feeling about. So, how do I use it? A number of different ways where I want to come up with some ideas for a LinkedIn post, right? It's not
Yep.
going to write it for me, but maybe I'm stuck for an idea, or here's the basics of what I want to say, help me format it. And then I'll just take it and make it my own, right? I'll use my own language. The more you work with it, the more it gets to understand you, but sometimes we'll have a battle. No, this isn't right. No, change this word. Or I said, don't use this sentence, and you've used it 3 times in a row, right?
Yep.
I'll also use it for, preparing, like this morning. Um, Please give me some talking points based upon what happened over the weekend. And it'll generate
Very correct. Yeah.
some talking points that, okay, if I have a troubled client or a nervous client call, we can talk about what's been going on in the world. And it's kind of right in front of me a little bit. Again, we always have to do fact checking. We have to make sure that what it's telling us is correct. Then there's an occasion or two where I have to respond to an email, and I want to do it in a way. I mean, there could be a number of different scenarios. I don't want to come across salesy because I don't. I don't
Yep.
want to come across maybe too aggressive because I don't want to
Yep.
do that either. So it can help format some of the conversations for me, and that's pretty much how those areas are how we're using it. But it is definitely helpful. I call it an assistant. It's not
Yeah.
going to replace me, but I definitely call it an assistant. It can allow you to be creative in your writing, in your thought process, even in if I'm giving a presentation, and I may ask it, okay, I'm going to give a presentation on ABC. Please give me 10 topics that I can talk about. And then I'll just talk about those
Go
topics with
through.
my own knowledge and experience.
I think that's smart. And what's interesting is we just signed a lawyer today, 74 years old, and just starting to get comfortable with AI. And it's like anything, the more you use it, and in the more non-threatening ways, right? We certainly don't want people putting financial information in, social security numbers
Oh,
or
no.
personal health information. It's amazing to me
No.
how many lawyers go, oh, I'm not worried about that. And it's like, well, it's against the law. So first of all, you
Yeah,
can't do that.
correct.
So there's it's real interesting conversations around that. But just I think it's a really cool thing to do things that are non-threatening, right? Help me craft an email.
Yeah,
Help give me some talking points. I
yeah,
love what you just said about, hey, catch me up from what happened over the weekend, right?
yeah.
We're all financial professionals. We want to stay educated. Um,
Mhm.
I hardly ever use Google anymore. It's incredible
Yeah.
how much a tool that was so, was so reliant on that tool for all my information. I never use Google.
Mhm.
So um, I'm glad to hear that AI is starting to proliferate across all sectors, right? Not just in the
Yeah.
law. It's everything, right? It's perfect
Right.
for it. But really, AI, as we start to wind down, the way I like to break it down for people is there's 3 things that every professional has to do, right? Whether it's a financial planner, and in your case, it applies probably as much, if not more than most. One is we have to aggregate information. So we have to go collect information from a bunch of sources, right? So you're talking
Mhm.
to, give me your W-2s, give me your whatever, right? Tax returns, your rent, so you got to aggregate all that information and organize
Mhm.
it, right? And then once you do that,
Mhm.
you have to analyze that information. And based on that analysis, you have to plot a course of action. So it's
Mhm.
aggregate, analyze, and act.
Mhm.
Who doesn't have to do that? In everything that we do, right? Whether you're an
Yeah.
accountant, a
Right.
financial planner, you're an attorney, right? A mortgage broker, insurance agent, we all have to, and that's what AI is really good for. And it's great to see. And here's the other thing that I know. I've never met someone who started using AI and ended up using it less.
Oh, no, I, perfect example. Obviously, everybody starts out with the free chat GPT and
Yep.
they hear about the paid version and, no, I don't think I need that. I don't think I need that. And then once you see that you can't do as much with the free version of chat GPT, like for example, maybe it's creating images or analyzing images, it'll say, okay, you've exhausted the opportunity for today, check back
Yep.
in 24 hours. And you're like, wait a minute, I need to get this fixed like now. So yeah, the paid version, well worth it. Um, when it comes to Google, and you're right, I think more and more people are going to Chat GPT or Copilot or some of the other formats first. There are certain occasions when we do have to double check, especially when
Yep.
it comes to numbers. Google can be a good source for that. And also, for any attorney that's listening, I've heard that sometimes information is entered and then Chat GPT will spit something out. And, I've heard where, some of the cases are made up, some of the cases
Yep.
didn't really exist. So we always have to be careful when it comes to particular, items that are number specific, case specific. We just have to double check. Never, ever, ever take something, copy, paste, and run with it. You
I,
you can't
I
do
think
that. And yeah,
that's
it's
really good advice. So
yeah,
as we wind down, you're in Boca, right?
right.
So you're in the
Yep.
hot seat of a bunch of people with a ton of money. So that's probably not the worst thing for you.
It's
So
okay.
if somebody, so couple points, what are the big takeaways you want? So if you were going to send a message out to lawyers all over the country, you'd say, hey, couple things to think about, guys. What are those couple things?
Yeah. So I think it probably goes back to the top of the podcast. And I work with law firm owners all across the US. So I'm not limited to Florida. And obviously with the beauty of technology, we can have virtual meetings all day long. But it goes back to the top. Number one, be proactive with your tax planning. If you're not satisfied with your CPA or they're not taking a proactive stance and helping you look at ways to save on taxes, you might want to look at a different CPA. You have to have a financial plan. I think that's so important. People want advice. It's hard for me as a financial planner, advisor, to tell you what to do with your money if I don't know a lot more about you. Because we have people come to us and, for example, hey, Frank, I've got this old 401k from an old law firm. I'd like you to manage it. Where should we put it? Well, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I need to know about you. I need to know what else you've done, what direction that you're headed. And I guess the third thing is really have a good team of advisors helping you. CPA, financial advisor. Make sure, yes, you're an attorney if you're listening to this, but make sure you have the proper attorney guidance for what it is that you need to do for your firm, whether it's succession planning, exit planning, employment agreements. Make sure you have the proper documents, trademarking for various things, right? Fractional CFO is also a good person to have. And typically, if it's a good financial advisor, they're going to be the one that's going to kind of quarterback all of that for you. So you have to have good advisors, giving you the right advice that's good for you. It's not going to be good for everybody, but it's going to be good for you. But I think those are the hot buttons that you need to be aware of. And one thing I do know that no one, and I can't make doing what I do sexy. It's just impossible. But nobody likes to be financially undressed, and I know that that's a problem for a lot of people. I'm not here to judge. I've seen a lot. I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen a lot. If I can help put an attorney in, the proper direction, help fix a couple holes that they have, or just tell them, hey, you're in good shape. Keep doing what you're doing. Then, any of those scenarios, I feel like I've done, good work for them.
That's great. And what's the best way for if somebody wants to find you, Frank?
So I'm on LinkedIn all day, every day. You can directly message me there. My phone number, I'm gonna give it
Yep.
out,
Yeah,
954
please.
Yeah, 954-253-5508. Or you can email me at frank@palmwealthpartners.com. Pretty simple.
Amen. I think that's good sound advice. Start early. Don't procrastinate. Take the emotion out of it. I think that's all solid advice, and that's coming from a guy who's the most emotional about money than anybody on the planet. So, I'm still putting all my money on black and red at 57 years old, starting companies. So we're gonna keep going. Frank, I really
Great.
appreciate you taking the time today. For those listening, we want to thank you. Certainly reach out to Frank. He works with some of the top lawyers in the country. He's a great resource. I encourage you, email him, give him a call. We want to thank Faster Outcomes. Faster Outcomes is the ultimate legal intelligence platform, native AI based for law firms and lawyers of all shapes and sizes. Thank you again to our listeners, and have a great week.